Humble obeisances, all grace to Srila Prabhupada. I welcome you all to His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj's daily class. So today we'll be going through the Srimad Bhagavatam again, going through Canto 3, Chapter 3, verses 11 to 13. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances, all grace to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, would you like me to share the screen now?
1 minute. Okay. Let me see the verse before 11, number 10.
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, number 11. Sambaram dvidudambanam morabhavalam evacha anyascha dantravakra din avidit kamscha gataya. Oh, of kings like Sambara, Tvivida, Bana, Mura, Balbala, and many other demons such as Dantravarka. Some he killed himself, and some he caused to be killed by others, by Sri Valadev, etc. Atite Bratraputranam Paksayo Patitam Nirpam Chanchalabhu Kurushetram Yesamapatatam Balay. Then, O Lord, the Lord caused all the kings, both the enemies and those on the side of your fighting nephews, to be killed in the battle of Kurukshetra. All those kings were so great and strong that the earth seemed to shake as they traversed the warfield. Sakarna Dushashana Salbalanam. Sakarna Dushashana Salbalam. Kurmatra Pakane Hatta. Sakarna Dushashana Salbalam. Kumatra Pakena Hat Shriyayusam. Suryadanam Sunucharam. No. Who you done? Sakarna Dushashana Sabala. Sakarna Dushashana Sabalanam. Kurmantra Pakinhata Siyayusam. Suyodanam Suyucharam. Sayanam Bognorum Urvayam Nandana Pasyan. Translation. Can't see the translations.
Sorry.
Okay. Duryodhana was bereft of his fortune and duration of life because of the intricacy of ill advice given by Karna, Dushansana, and Shalbala. When he lay on the ground with his father, his thigh broken, although he was powerful, the Lord was not happy to see the scene. You want to read it? Read the purport.
Yes, Maharaj. The fall of Duryodhana, the leading son of Dhritarashtra, was not pleasing to the Lord. Although he was on the side of Arjuna, and it was he who advised Bhima how to break the thighs of Duryodhana while the fighting was going on, the Lord is constrained to award punishment upon the wrongdoer, but he is not happy to award such punishments because the living entities are ordinary, are originally his parts and parcels. He is harder than the thunderbolt for the wrongdoer and softer than the rose for the faithful. The wrongdoer is misled by bad associates and by ill advice, which is against the established principles of the Lord's order, and thus he becomes subject to punishment. The surest path to happiness is to live by the principles laid down by the Lord, and not disobey his established laws, which are enacted in the Vedas and the Puranas for the forgetful living entities.
Ganadana Salakaya Chaksun Militamnena Tasmai Sri Udavena Maha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Bhupa Kadammayam Dadanti Swam Padantikam. Vandeham Shiguro Shiyata Padekamalam Shigurun Vaishnavamscha Sirupam Sagrajatam Sahaganat Raganatam Vitam Tam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Saradutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitamscha E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rikabanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpa Tarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Paepacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnava Namaho Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So one has to be very careful of their association. Duryodhana was given advice by people who seemed to be his well-wisher, but the advice led to his death. And therefore, although he was envious and what we call avaricious, and he fought against the Pandavas, and the Lord really was angry at him many times. Still, when he died, the Lord was not pleased. He was a great powerful Kshatriya, but still, he acted in the wrong way. He was against the Vaishnavas. And therefore, when he's against the Vaishnavas, he's against the Lord. Because the Vaishnavas live simply to serve the Lord. And therefore, the Lord protects the Vaishnavas in all situations. And those who act against the Vaishnavas, they find themselves, in due course of time, being punished by the laws of material nature or by the Lord himself. In this case, it seems like it was the laws of material nature. The Lord, it says here, it's interesting, he gave the advice to Bhima how to break the thighs of Duryodhana, because Duryodhana couldn't be killed unless he was hit in the thighs. His thighs were vulnerable. That's the only part of his body which is vulnerable. Otherwise, his body was like steel. And Krishna gave the information, and Bhima took it and smashed his thigh with his club. And because of that, he lay with broken thighs, and he wasn't dying, dead, but he was suffering tremendously. The Lord didn't like to see that for some reason. Although he kills the wrongdoers and gives them liberation, in this case, he didn't want to see Duryodhana suffer so much. But that was his destiny because he acted against. The Lord was sorry that such a powerful Kshatriya, a very qualified king in one sense, was on the wrong side. If you're against the Lord, you lose. There's no doubt. No matter who you are, no matter how great you are, no matter how influential you are, if you're against the Lord, you lose. Bhishma Dev was invincible. He could not be killed by anyone. He could only die when he wanted to die. And he had the power to destroy the entire Pandava army, single-handed. But he knew Krishna was the Supreme Lord, and he was the devotee of Krishna. So he never fought to his capacity. And when he did fight to his capacity, when he was criticized for not fighting to his capacity, he fought to his capacity, but that forced the Lord to jump in and save the Pandavas. Otherwise, the Pandavas would have been killed, and all of the armies on the Pandava side would have been destroyed. So Bhishma Dev Said no matter how, later on he said, no matter how powerful you are, if you're against the Lord, you lose. So in that case, he knew he was in complete knowledge of the Lord, and he knew he was fighting against the Lord only to show that the glories of the Lord are invincible. The Pandavas were outnumbered. The Kurus had greater armies and better fighters, but still they lost because they were against Krishna, or they were against Krishna's devotees. So sometimes devotees get discouraged to see the situation in the world, how people are so materialistic. In many places, people are against the devotees. Devotees feel unhappy because the devotees know that they're simply trying to help people by giving them the path of liberation, the path back to Godhead. Devotees are well do-gooders for everyone. They sacrifice their own comforts just to do good for others, and yet others don't appreciate it, and they act against that. But still, just like Jesus Christ, he was crucified, but at the same time, he always tried to help them by giving them God consciousness. So devotees always act for the benefit of others, but others don't appreciate that. So sometimes devotees get a little discouraged, but one should never get discouraged because Rake Krishna More More Krishna Rake. If you're on the side of the Lord, you're always protected. If you're against the Lord, then either your fate is not understood. In other words, you don't know what's going to happen, and it's usually inauspicious. We have a big war going on in the world now, and more countries are jumping in. And devotees are also finding themselves in difficult situations in countries that are being bombed where they are. But still, they remain together, they chant the holy names, and they still, whatever way they can, they preach Krishna consciousness. And the history of Vaishnavas during calamities is glorious. I'm sitting in Croatia right now. This country was in the 1990s, Croatia, Slovenia, not so much Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia, Serbia, Herzegovina, Montenegro. And there was a big war here. But many devotees distributed books during the war, even at the cost of their lives. And the devotees are always the well-wishers of everyone. Why? Because they want to serve the Lord, and they know the Lord is the benefactor of all living entities. But sometimes people who are well-intended, of course, that wasn't the case with Duryodhana, but he got misled by wrong advice. So as for devotees, we should always take association and advice from devotees who are qualified to give advice, not even any devotees, because some devotees may not be able to give advice, or they may present themselves as giving advice. One says that unless one is a pure devotee, he's subject to mistakes. There are 4 defects of the conditioned soul: imperfect senses, tendency to cheat, making mistakes, and the tendency to be illusioned. These 4 defects are there in the conditioned soul. As long as one has any material desire, they're subject to those one or many of those 4. And they make mistakes also. But therefore, one should always take advice from the pure devotee or someone who is acting purely in devotional service. Those who are purified in consciousness, purified in activity. And then your advice will always be beneficial. And one should seek advice and association of devotees. Advice is good. People come to the spiritual master for advice. They prayed to the Lord for guidance. Well, this is natural for the devotee. Devotees always want to do the best things, both for themselves and for others. That means they want to live according to the laws of God. Here it says here, the surest path to happiness is to live by the principles laid down by the Lord and not to disobey his established laws, which are found in the Vedas Puranas. For us, for the living entities who are in this material world here. So one should not act whimsically. One should always take guidance from higher knowledge in all aspects, even in practical things. We learn. If you listen to Srila Prabhupada, it's very edifying spiritually and even material to listen to Srila Prabhupada, especially for health. Prabhupada talks about health. And he's spoke, hundreds and hundreds of statements about how to keep your health together, how to live in a healthy way. Now, Prabhupada was a pharmacist, and he used to work, in that capacity before he took active role in preaching. He was a pharmacist. So he knew medicine really good, and he used to make his own medicine. And many times he would speak about health, medicine, things to avoid, things that will be helpful for overall health. Prabhupada just didn't focus on spiritual topics. He connected everything with Krishna. Of course, we keep our health so we can serve Krishna nicely. That's the underlining principle. But Prabhupada spoke on a lot of things. He spoke on politics. He spoke about even today what's going on in the world. He predicted a lot of it, which is happening even today. And even during his time, he made many statements commenting about political situations. He said, we're not interested in politics, but we're interested in Krishna consciousness. And so politics is also part of the affairs of the people in general. So when we connect politics with Krishna and we get spiritual politics or that politics that that leads people in the right direction, not in the wrong direction. Prabhupada spoke on every subject. And he also said many times, every topic that is there in human society is found in the Srimad Bhagavatam. You might think, how is that? If you read, you'll find it. Carefully read, you'll see Prabhupada covers everything in his purports, and even in the text also. So Krishna consciousness is a holistic program, not just simply philosophical knowledge, which is the basis, and it is the guiding factor, but even practical things. A lot of times devotees don't know how to live in the world. They don't know how to take care of themselves. They don't know, they do the wrong things when it comes to their own and so, but if we listen to Srila Prabhupada, you can gain a lot of insight on how to act in different situations, even just for travel. For instance, says you should never travel on Thursday. Thursday is not a good day for travel. It's an inauspicious day. And especially between the hours of 4 p.m. and 6 p.m., it's most inauspicious. I've had situations come up during those times where things have gone wrong because I was chanting the holy names, of course. Things weren't, I was protected, but at the same time, a lot of things just went wrong. Traveling on the Codicil is not recommended either. That's even more likely that things will go wrong on traveling on a Codicil. So, I mean, these little things, what did Prabhupada do? Did he travel on Thursday? Yes. On Wednesday night, he took his shoes, put them outside of his door, pointed in the direction he was going, just to indicate he's leaving on Wednesday instead of Thursday. He did that. Prabhupada did a lot of things that were just materially when we say superior than the ordinary activities of the conditioned souls. So yeah, Vaishnava knows everything, inside and out. You can't fool a Vaishnava. Vaishnavas know. Therefore, we get all our knowledge from Srila Prabhupada. We don't have to go in any other places. Prabhupada covered everything. But we don't listen to Prabhupada. We don't read his books, and therefore we get stuck. We make mistakes. And we have to find out our own solutions. And then a lot of times we get advice that is not actually beneficial. Listen to Prabhupada, and you have the basis for how to do everything and anything in all situations, for marriages, for raising children, for making money, for understanding how to everything. Prabhupada, Prabhupada covered everything. He connected everything to Krishna, because ultimately Krishna is the source of everything, both material and spiritual. He says that in the Bhagavad Gita. I am the source of everything, spiritual and material. So if material is not being done properly, it will interfere with our process of devotional service. In other words, it'll make our devotional service more difficult. Therefore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur also talks about that in his Shikshamrita, that if we have material problems in our life, they can cause us to become less focused in our devotional service, and may even cause us to give up our devotional service and take care of material problems. So therefore, devotee has to know everything. Devotee knows everything. You can ask the devotee anything, and the devotee can give you an answer. But if they can't give you the answer, they can always tell you where you can find the answer. That's a devotee. Devotee wants to know everything, how to live, how to preach, how to practice Krishna consciousness in the most beneficial and effective way. So one should always take association with those who are more advanced than us in Krishna consciousness. Then we are in a good position to receive proper guidance, and in a good position not to become misguided by wrong advice. Okay. The Lord loves all living entities equally. He says that in the Bhagavad Gita, Samoham Sarvabhuteshu Name Dvesha Srina Priya. But those who are his devotees, he gives special favor. Why? Because they abide by him. Those who don't abide by him, he still cares for them through the material energy. But a lot of times they have to suffer because they interact with the material energy in such a way that the material energy causes them to suffer. So devotees are always protected by the Lord. And the Lord, as we say, he is the ultimately well-wisher for everyone. Srila Prabhupada used to sign his letters, your ever well-wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. But what he was saying is he's representing that person who is our ever well-wisher, Krishna. So the spiritual master is also our well-wisher because he represents our eternal well-wisher, Krishna. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj, for such a wonderful class. The devotees, if you have any questions, please raise your hands. If you're not able to speak, then you can type your questions on the chat box and I'll read it out for you. And it'd be nice if we can try and get more cameras on so we can get your darshan.
It'd be nice for me if you turn the cameras on. Sri Devi, where are you hiding? Oh, there you are. Okay. Gauri Priya, okay. She's upside down, sideways. She's not sure which direction she's supposed to be in. Okay. Ever since she left Mayapur, everything's been upside down.
Something like that, yes, Maharaj.
Okay, so questions.
Sridevi Mataji, would you like to go ahead?
Yes, please. Thank you, Srijana. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. As you were speaking about getting advice in difficult situations or any situations where we need good advice, instructions, you said that as long as one is taking advice from a pure devotee who is not subject to any of the four defects, one is safe. But sometimes we are not able to maybe immediately access our Gurudev for some reason. And we are talking to, say, sadhus, saintly persons, as it says, Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. Now, they are not pure, but they are saintly devotees. So, can they also sometimes be making mistakes? Which means we must always ultimately ask our Guru.
Well, if they're pure, that means they're representing the pure message. But we develop trust over a period of time when we interact with certain devotees. But then again, those in the position of leadership, those who are responsible for giving advice and caring for devotees, we can be more certain that we'll get what we need. But in some cases, when that's not available, then you have to see who you feel is trustworthy, who's competent. Yeah. What is it? Guya Chamam. What is it? Pretty Guya. What is that? The six loving exchanges.
Guyam Akhyati Prichati.
Yeah, Guya Atyatim Prichyati. Yeah.
I see. So we develop a relationship, we can find that we can trust them, they have a good reputation. So though they may not be like 100% pure devotees, they are reliable and trustworthy by the fact that they are following the process as best as they can. And so we can take their advice.
Yeah, you have to understand that. Hmm. You usually
Thank you.
go to someone who other people have also gone to. So then you're in a good position.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. My obeisances.
Hari.
Maharaj, following on from Sridevi Mataji's question, what if someone comes to us for advice? How can we give them the best advice to help them?
You have to be qualified. Advice might be practical, advice might be spiritual. For spiritual advice, then you can reference Shastra, you can bring up examples of successes based on Shastra. Or when it comes to practical advice, then you have to have the know-how. A lot of times we do marriage counseling. I mean, and that's not easy. That's one of the hardest areas to give advice in. So therefore, people who are marriage counselors are generally trained to do that, and not just anybody. Mhm. Mhm.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you. Bhagwan Chaitanya Prabhu, would you like to go ahead?
Hey,
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to you, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, and all glories to Vaishnavas everywhere. Guru Maharaj, you were talking about how one devotee, typically a junior devotee, can seek the help of seniors, exalted, any level of higher devotees. In this respect, how important is the confidentiality? Does it have to be, can you ask for help? You have to ask for help without disrespecting others, first thing. And if you have a question about others, so what is the etiquette here and what is the confidentiality, Maharaj?
The confidentiality should be observed, that it shouldn't go beyond that person that you're talking to. Mm. And then sometimes we see that that doesn't happen. People use that situation and speak about it publicly to others, which is really an offense to the person. When like sometimes we want to point out somebody's wrong behavior as an example, what to avoid, but we don't mention the person's name. We just explain what happened, or we use just examples of the activities rather than the actual incident. So confidentiality is really very, very uh, important, because when people break confidentiality, they break trust. When they break trust, then people will not come to them, and then they get a reputation also. And what is the etiquette for approaching such persons? Is that it?
So even more so, sometimes you might have um, very rarely you may want to talk about somebody else, and then we are not supposed to say anything bad about Vaishnavas. And on the etiquette question, my question was also, is confidentiality implicit? If you're telling a friend, you say, "Hey, dude, don't tell anyone," but that here is it implicit?
It should be.
Okay.
It should be, yeah. Mm. And that should be already understood, even if it's not mentioned.
Mhm. And this kind of this is a method, a prescribed method to learn and resolve certain things, Maharaj. Is it part of our culture?
By taking advice, you mean, from seniors?
Yes.
Yeah, it's one of the principles that governs our activities in society. People go to others for advice, just like sometimes people in married life struggle. So we sometimes direct them to householders who are very much situated nicely in their Grihastha ashram for advice, because they are experienced like that. We try to sometimes, in giving advice, we also refer people to others who we know who can help. Like, I know there's one person, he's really good at helping people with a lot of mental problems,
Mhm.
such as various types of mental problems, which can be considered to be chronic, the things that are not going away. And he's good. You send somebody to him and they come out dancing. So
Nice.
he's really good. I mean,
Mm.
he has a, great track record for helping others. So there are people like that they know the
Yeah.
psychology, they know psychology, and they know how to deal with such.
Mhm. Yes, some of that is evolving, Maharaji. The police forces are starting to employ mental health people because if the policeman approaches, especially here in the US, they first shoot. And most of the time, that was not necessary because that person was suffering a mental health episode.
Yeah, one time in America, one little kid had a play gun, but
Yes. Yes.
thought it was a real
Hmm.
gun. He
Yeah.
shot the kid. Yeah,
He shot the kid. Yeah.
you heard about that, huh?
Yes. Yes. It was just a few years ago. Yes, it happened. It was in the news. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm afraid of the police.
Yes.
They're trigger happy.
They are.
Yeah. And that means they're not properly trained.
Mhm.
they're not qualified actually to be police officers if they're like that.
Yeah. So local police have been trying for just surface and mental health workers, and that's been successful. They're trying. Yeah.
But one of the things is in America, everybody has guns.
Yes, they do.
If you go to Europe, no one's allowed to have guns in Europe. And India also.
Yeah, India, you cannot find a gun. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of the crime rate is less. The crime rate is not so severe. America and certain countries, certain cities are like there's so much violence. It's just like unbelievable. Detroit, you're in Detroit area. That was one of the most violent cities in history.
Yes.
Still
We
is.
are still the king, Maharaj. We're still the king. We are holding on to the title. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
The king's losing his followers, though.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Maharaj. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. Anjali Mataji, would you like to go ahead?
Thank you so much, Vijay Mataji. Hi, Krishna Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All grace to Srila Prabhupada in you. Guru Maharaj, regarding association, I was hearing this lecture in that Prabhu quoted verse, third canto, chapter number 29, verse 17, where Kapila Dev is talking about who we should befriend. And in purport, Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada is writing, which I was confused, I didn't understood. I would like some clarity on that. He said the devotee should avoid a person whose character is not fixed in the standard understanding, even though he may be a Vaishnava or a devotee of Krishna. If his character is not correctly representative, then he should be avoided. Guru Maharaj, what does standard understanding means here? And what kind of Vaishnavas he's talking about?
Mhm. So, well, it talks about character, right? So what is the
Yes.
standard understanding towards using standard understanding to judge character? Is that what it means?
I'm not very clear about it, Guru Maharaj, but it's about character. Here in the translation, it is saying he should be compassionate to the poor and make friendship with person who are his equals.
Yeah.
So this very line has been explained here by Srila Prabhupada, where
Well,
he is saying that
Srijana, put up that section of the what she wants.
Mataji, which verse is it?
third canto, chapter number 29, verse 17.
Oh, that's King Prachini Barhi shot, right? Yeah, that's an allegory, that whole section. Well, so where is it?
It's in the last
A,
paragraph.
a devotee shows compassion.
I think of this section, Maharaj.
The devotee should avoid a person whose character is not fixed in the standard understanding. So Prabhupada gave that understanding before in his explanation. What is the standard understanding? He should make friendship with persons on equal level, like that. It's the duty of the devotees. He should try to elevate others who are in a lesser position by showing compassion in the poor. So one who is not fixed in devotional service, even though he may be a devotee, should avoid such a person. These are called neophyte devotees who don't have a clear understanding of how to behave in the assembly of Vaishnavas. And the behavior is on the second class platform. And this is the standard by which behavior is meant to be practiced. And that is one, you show your love for the Lord by serving the Lord. Two, You make friends with the devotees and share Krishna consciousness together. 3, you reach out to the fallen conditioned souls and try to raise them up towards Krishna consciousness. And 4, avoids the atheists, the non-devotees, the demoniac persons who are against Krishna consciousness. But even if a devotee's character is not good, then that should be avoided also. Well, character is the practice. We develop character by the mode of goodness. The mode of goodness, the qualities of the mode of goodness, is the character of a Vaishnava. Humble, tolerant, prideless, patient, equal to others, knows the Shastras, can speak the Shastras, simple. So yeah, take association from those who are fixed in Krishna consciousness on the equal level, and on the higher level, those who are leading. They have positions, they have their gurus, their sannyasis, their temple leaders. They have, it takes some intelligence and it takes a little bit of an experience to understand things. How do we live from day to day? How do we associate with others? We determine what is beneficial and what to avoid. Same with devotees. You may have to avoid certain devotees because their character is not good. That's all. For those who
Thank you so much.
like to find fault with others, that person's character is not good. He's a fault finder.
Is that okay, Mother?
Yes, thank you so much, Guru Maharaj, for explaining it. So basically, we should always look for association who are greater than us and equal as well, who are
Yeah,
more advanced and fixed in Krishna consciousness.
yeah. If you see their character is not proper, then might want to distance yourself from that person.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj, for clarifying that. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu, would you like to go ahead? Ask a question.
John Mataji. Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, thank you for this message that you're giving us today. It's so critically important. It's so tremendously important to spread wider to every devotee and every visitor that comes into our movement, because I see so many people, they don't understand that they can't. First of all, so many devotees, generally speaking, devotees are always ready to jump out and give advice. But some of the time, they're giving that advice before even listening to the person that's asking the question. Some of the time, they're giving advice without even thinking and just blurting it out. Some of the time, they're giving that advice based on their own life and not based upon the person that they're responding to. Some of the time, I've seen that they're giving out advice that shattering, particularly if it's a newcomer or someone that's still relatively new in the movement. They end up leaving the movement. They end up giving up on spirituality because sometimes they open up their heart to the wrong person and it's been shattered, and they'll never come back again. And there's so many of these people And then there's so many people in the movement, and they're of senior years, and they're dressed like Vaishnavas or Vaishnavis, but inside their heart is burning, and they're not fully engaging. They're coming, but they're not engaging. And to many devotees that don't really understand who I can ask and who I shouldn't ask, they see this, oh, this looks like a senior Vaishnava, a senior devotee, let me ask them. They will know how to help me. And they will give totally bad information. And it's just horrible to see. I mean, we're quite fortunate at the manor because we've had Keshava Maharaj drumming into us repeatedly this message about who you can ask advice to and who you can't. But he's not there so much these days, and more people coming in, and more people asking the wrong people and getting bad advice and getting up into a mess. It's horrible. What can we do about this?
Mhm. Up to the leaders in the temple to stop it. Yeah, that should be controlled. When new people come in, they should be guided to certain people who can help them, and not just somehow anybody who walks up to them and starts talking to them. Advice should be sought after and not just thrown upon you. New people, especially, give them a chance to experience something before you start telling them what to do and what not to do. Yeah, I mean, people are not trained. People like to give advice who are not qualified to give advice. My god sister, Sukavaha, not my disciple Sukava, my god sister Sukava. She's written books about this. Yeah, and it's very interesting how she explains this. It's a very, yeah, you can destroy someone's Krishna consciousness or their attempt to become Krishna conscious by speaking the wrong thing or going around criticizing others to new people. I mean, yeah, well, we have to, it's hard to protect people from that, but what we do in temples that are organized, there's only certain people who, when new people come in, they're guided towards them, and then they get exactly what they need to hear. These are qualified people, trained people. Yeah.
Very much. Do you think we should all have training on how to give advice?
Yeah, it should be. They're like in certain temples, they have what is called guest master. They take care of the guests. Nobody else jumps in there and does their own thing. Yeah,
Very much.
guest master should be organized. It has to be. Otherwise, it can be people can get the wrong advice. And a lot of times they do get the wrong advice because people don't know how to give advice. They take something out of a shastra and just repeat it. It may not at all apply to the situation.
Very much. It would be nice if you can give us all a session on how to give advice.
To give you an example, Prabhupada, when this was happened many years ago, back in the time when Prabhupada was here, one lady, she was coming into the temple. She was a new person, and she was wearing a mini skirt. She had her hair up, a lot of makeup on. And the devotees told her, you can't come in like that. You have to dress properly. You have to look more demure. And, she listened, but she came back each time the same way. And every time the devotees got heavier with her. Finally, they got so heavy with her that she decided not to come anymore. So they, then she heard Prabhupada was coming. So Prabhupada was coming. So she thought, let me just see their spiritual teacher. So Prabhupada happened to come, he happened to come during a Sunday feast time. So he took the Vyasa-san, and she walked in, and she was walking around looking for a place to sit. She was dressed the same way as she always was. And Prabhupada looked at her and said, "Oh, thank you very much for coming. You look so nice today." Just melted her heart. Prabhupada was not just patronizing her, he was seeing her as a soul, not simply a body. And then she actually felt so, he reached her heart, and she just wanted to do anything. And then she went back home and took off her makeup and started dressing differently. She said, "If this pleases the devotees, then I'll do that." But devotees getting heavy with her, she was about to leave until Prabhupada came and changed the whole thing around.
Guru Maharaj.
Okay, so yeah, thank you for bringing up that point. It's very important. I was giving a lecture just recently, and I finished, and then they said, "Oh," so I asked for, give me one question because time was short. And someone got up and started criticizing someone right in the middle. And I stopped it. Couldn't take it anymore. And they were just finding fault with somebody, and they were mentioning names. And then I just turned the whole thing around and tried to explain that whatever faults a person has, if they're still engaged in devotional service, apichet sutaracharo bhajatema mananyava sarveva samantavyag samahiso hisa, that even if a person commits an abominable act, if they're engaged in devotional service, they are rightly situated. They're considered to be saintly. Krishna sees differently than we do. We like to condemn others for their mistakes and we feel good about that. We think we're so self-righteous. One devotee, he was having trouble. And then he was doing something wrong. And the devotees start speaking about him. Prabhupada got really angry. He said, "Now you've ruined everything. Now you made it difficult for him to come back." And Prabhupada went directly to him and talked to him and brought him back.
Thank you, Maharaj. Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu, is that okay?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Darya Mataji, would you like to go ahead?
Yes, thank you very much, Hare Krishna. My humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada Maharaj. So I was wondering regarding our association, how if we have like a limited choice we can associate in the temple, is it better that we be by ourselves, or how should we deal with the person that's only trying to find faults in others and criticizing and complaining?
Finding faults in others, just walk away. Or excuse yourself politely and say you have to leave and do something. Don't listen. Because if you listen, you also get a reaction for listening.
So we should not try to help them see differently the other person that they're.
Yeah, you have to understand the situation. Generally, if someone's just finding fault because they're disturbed, then that's offensive. If someone talks about someone's misconduct in a way that is beneficial, That's a little different. But generally, we don't get, we just avoid that. Just associate with devotees who are that inspire you in Krishna consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
You can choose your association.
Mm-hmm. So then it's still better to be by ourselves if we don't have
No,
at that time.
not,
No?
not better to be by yourself. Find someone to associate with.
Yeah. There are not so many devotees in the temple lately, and sometimes it is hard.
Where are you?
In Switzerland, in Zurich.
In Sicily?
No, Switzerland, Zurich temple.
Oh, in Zurich temple, yeah. Let's see. There's many nice devotees there.
Yes, many are traveling right now as well. And in the temple, we are only 3 Matajis. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice temple too. Very nice. Is Krishna Prema Rupa still doing president? Is he still president there?
Yeah, he's traveling right now. But yeah,
He's up for
he's there.
sannyas and also GBC. So
Mm-hmm.
so he's splitting his he's splitting his services up now. Krishna Prema Rupa he's a gem. One of the nicest devotees you can possibly meet. And then Madhava, the singer, he lives not too far, right, from the temple. When he's there, he comes to the temple sometimes. And you got the most beautiful Balaram Didi there.
Yes.
That's of Jagannath.
Mm.
Balaram just steals the whole show.
Yes, the deities are so beautiful.
Especially Balaram. And Gornitai are also quite attractive, very attractive.
But should we try still, because they are still devotees, should we still try to be there for them and listen to them when they have like a hard situation?
You have to judge that, you have to determine. I can't say don't associate. You might have with 3 people in the temple, you don't have much association. Go on the weekends though. You have a nice what is it? Tamil group. They come there, right? The Tamil.
Yes.
They're nice. They're very
Yes.
Christian conscious.
Thank you, Dari Mataji. Hope that's okay.
Yes, thank you very much.
Raj Prabhu, would you like to go ahead?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and you. Guru Maharaj, I humbly want to ask that sometimes when we are dealing with the outside world, especially in the outside Kshatriya world, geopolitics, or doing some executional job or something like that, and we go to devotees and ask for some advices. So maybe the immediate, I humbly want to ask that maybe the immediate spiritual authority does not have practical background to that situation or that particular thing. So should we consult multiple spiritual authorities? And if there is a conflict between the advice of one spiritual authority and other spiritual authority, how do we deal with that? Should we take an outsider's opinion in that?
No. You shouldn't try to keep going to different spiritual authorities. You should find one spiritual authority and someone you can trust, and then you put your questions to them and follow their advice. That's all. One, not many, one. You'll get confused if they give you different advice. Then you'll choose what you like rather than what's necessary. Everyone should have a spiritual master. Everyone should have one senior devotee in their life that whenever they need some advice or some guidance, they can go to that one person. That is the way of organization. Find that, so find that one person who you can trust and go to that person.
Is that okay, Prabhu? I think he's frozen, maybe. Oh. Maybe network issues. We have around 5 minutes of the class left. If there's any last minute questions, devotees, please go ahead.
Okay, we can stop here. Sri Devi.
Shridevi Mataji.
I've been listening intently to these exchanges, Guru Maharaj, and to me, it seems that even as we strive to find trustworthy, safe people, we also need to become ourselves safe, trustworthy people, in the sense that we should also strive to root out our anarthas, to become fixed in Krishna consciousness, to become steady in our endeavor, to be non-reactive even under provocative conditions, basically move towards the mode of goodness ourselves. That's my 2 cents.
Okay. 2 cents received. Thank you. Good point. Very good. Yeah. If you want to help others, make sure you can help yourself first. Okay, I'm going to end by reading one analogy. We're starting this new addition to the class at the end, reading an analogy that has the same date on it, March 7th. The analogy is titled The Treasure Found, the Gift That Erased Grief. The treasure found, the gift that erased grief. Analogy: a poor man, upon receiving an unexpected treasure, forgets all his suffering in an instant. Prabhupada's explanation. Srila Prabhupada explained that among all spiritual paths, rituals, philosophy, meditation, only devotional service brings us directly to Krishna. This loving devotional service is so powerful that when a soul receives it, material suffering dissolves. Just as a poor man forgets his misery upon finding treasure. Yet the joy of bhakti is not merely relief from distress, it lies in the growing relationship with Krishna. This love deepens beyond even liberation, culminating in personal exchange with the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam affirms that even the most fallen can attain perfection through bhakti. It is the soul's greatest wealth, the essence of all Vedic teachings, and the only means to experience lasting spiritual fulfillment. And then at the end of this, there's a lesson. The lesson is devotional service removes material suffering and awakens the soul's fulfillment through a loving relationship with Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. That was beautiful. Thank you.
It's Prabhupada.
Okay, thank you everyone for attending today's class. Thank you, Maharaj, for the wonderful class. We'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you, Sujana Mataji.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru
Hare
Maharaj.
Krishna. Thank you,
Sujana.
Sujana.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you, Sirjana. Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Thank you.
devotees. Hare Krishna.